What's good, people? It's about that time to randomly relate reverse rants, no hate. Now, let me jump right into the video. We're talking about Iron Mike Tyson says he wants to fight Anthony Joshua. No, he didn't. Now, I saw several videos with that title, and people will put certain things up to get your attention. Okay, as long as it's not false advertising, then it is what it is. But when people put things up like that, I'm not trying to call anybody out because I don't personally care. It's not about an attack on anyone. But look, when people hit me up about things and I see it. Now the thing is, I saw the videos before people hit me up about it. So as soon as they did, when I watched the videos, I'm like, yeah, people want to talk about this one, and it was expected. Okay, so let me break this down. Mike Tyson was being interviewed. The person interviewing Mike Tyson, okay, you see Mike Tyson sitting there in front of a computer. He's doing the interview, but the camera's on Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson was asked, "So, Mike, would you consider fighting a current heavyweight or active heavyweight now?" Mike said, "Oh, I would love to. It's all for charity. It's all in the name of charity." Mike said that like several times. Then the guy goes, he says to Mike, "Oh, after hearing you say that, I'm pretty sure you're gonna get calls from like Anthony Joshua. Yeah, after hearing things like that. And he goes, "Hey, I would love to do something like that for charity." Mike Tyson, first of all, never said, "Yo, I want Anthony Joshua." Mike Tyson was asked a question, and Mike Tyson is talking about charity. So if Mike Tyson does this, if it would be a situation where Anthony Joshua gave Mike Tyson that call, it would go into the direction of, well, yeah, Anthony, I have my league that I formed. I'm trying to keep this going. What I'm doing is for charity. So I'm doing exhibitions, pretty much, in a nutshell. That's where that's going. Now I know Showbiz the adult. He loves Mike Tyson. You know what I'm saying? So many people love Mike Tyson, man. Mike is that guy. So whenever his name comes up, people still they want to erase the Buster Douglas, the McBrides. They want to erase the Lennox Lewis. They want to erase the, any loss that he's ever had. More so McBride and the last two guys that he lost to. But at the same time, it's like a lot of people won't say whether they want to admit it or not, or it just doesn't come up that way. A lot of people feel like Mike Tyson has unfinished business. Like they don't like the way he went out. They want to see Mike go out with the win. All in all, it's like this. As a human being, as someone who fights and goes in the gym and always see things that go on, I know what happens to fighters. I see the effects on fighters. I see fighters when they're like way past their primes and can't do it anymore, but they still have the heart to do it. And in here, they think that they look the same, but they don't, and they don't get it. Um, but I'm like this, okay? We all know what it is when we sign that dotted line. So you know what you're putting next to you. You know what's at stake. So it's like, hey, hopefully everybody walk out in one piece. But at the same time, if you go in there, and I'm just being straight up with you. Y'all can be as delusional as you want. Okay, let me say this. You can talk all the, oh, but Mike did this and Mike. Anthony Joshua would fucking kill Mike Tyson right now. Deontay Wilder would kill Mike Tyson. Andy Ruiz would kill Mike Tyson. You guys are talking about, oh, AJ lost to a fat, out of shape, slow. First of all, yeah, Andy his feet is not fast. He doesn't know how to cut off a ring. His hands are far from slow. We slow? Andy Ruiz is slow? Fat? Yes. At the same time, was Buster Mathis not a fat guy? Was Greg Page not a fat guy? But people say, hey, they were great fighters. Yeah, they were good fighters. They were all fat. Was James Toney not a fat guy? So when you guys say that, it's like, man, come on. You might not respect Ruiz or Joseph Parker, or you might not respect like these fighters this generation like you did the fighters of past. And mostly is I can't really say that because all y'all talk about is Mike. Y'all don't talk about Evander Holyfield. Y'all don't talk about Riddick Bowe. Y'all don't even talk about Lennox Lewis. You just talk about Mike Tyson. That's all y'all talk about is Mike Tyson. So it's like, yo, we want to see Mike. And y'all put these fantasy fights together in your head and y'all talk about what Mike would do and Mike would do this and Mike would do that. But at the end of the day, it's like, look, Mike had his time. And what Mike is doing right now is what's good for Mike. And that's his league with his exhibitions. Now, I know, like, Showbiz breaks down his feelings and what he thinks in his video. Okay, but one thing that I learned too is when you have a channel and you say things and you have a lot of influence on people, a lot of times people, and don't get me wrong, I'm pretty sure I know he gets his idiot minions that jump in there, oh, but Showbiz, you this and you this. And I'm not talking about because they disagree with an opinion. I mean, they just shoot shit down that they have no understanding of. But as far as being realistic with this fight, you guys really, really, you don't respect fighters. You say you do, but you don't. Y'all claim y'all love boxing, but you really don't. You love certain fighters. You worship certain fighters. Let's be realistic. Mike Tyson is 55 fucking years old. This man is damn near 5 years away from being 60, and you guys are talking about him beating Anthony Joshua. You guys imagine in your head or go back and watch an old clip, and then you look at these videos of him hitting mitts. You guys are some of y'all are so delusional, you don't even think about, look at the titles. Mike Tyson, sparring for Roy Jones Jr. I haven't seen one Mike Tyson sparring video since he was hitting the bag and looked in the camera and said, I'm back. I've seen him hitting mitts, and I keep telling you, it's not the same when shit is coming back to you. Your reaction to everything is not the same as getting hit. You're throwing punches. Look, Mike look awesome on the mitts. If you guys want to say that, and he looks ferocious on the fight, all this, oh yeah, yo, I'm telling you, he's more focused now than when he fought McBride and when he fought Williamson. How the hell would you know that? Because he hits mitts? Okay, I tell y'all this. I challenge y'all to do this because I've done it already. Go back and look at him in training. Type in Mike Tyson training for McBride or Danny Williamson or whoever. Any loss that he's had, and look at how ferocious he looked. He looked even more ferocious back then. You guys are talking about he's more focused right now. He's more dialed in. Based on fucking what? Like, I'm just being straight up real with you. Based on what? Because he hit some fucking mitts? And he's more focused? Based on what? Because of the way he's talking? The things he's saying? And then at 54, what it is, you guys are so overwhelmed at his age and he's still able to look as good as he does. But I mean, you're talking about him beating. Somebody said AJ was way too slow to even hit Mike. Mike would do this. It would be a one-round massacre and all this shit. And I'm like, yo, you really are delusional as fuck, man. You're sitting here talking about, now your opinion is your opinion. But then again, your opinion is not even your fucking opinion. Your opinion is being fucking, is being narrated by these hype jobs, there's all this hyped up, oh, Mike is going to do this and Mike is going to do that. If you guys even watched the video, you would know Mike Tyson never said he wants to fight Anthony Joshua. That's false. He never said that shit. Now, if someone puts that up as a title of their video and then break down, okay, Mike didn't actually say, I want to fight him. But what he said was, if you listen to the video, you clearly hear that's not what Mike Tyson said. Mike Tyson is focused on doing his events for charity. First off, like Mike said with Roy, with his league, he doesn't want to deal with all these middlemen. He doesn't want to deal with having to pay some promoter and this guy and that guy. He has his way of doing it. Roy liked it. Roy had no problem with it. He had no problem with it. So that's what it comes down to. But Mike Tyson never said he wants to fight Anthony Joshua. So when I hear people keep saying this shit, it's like, yo, y'all keep telling me, yeah, what do I think? First off, I think Anthony Joshua would destroy him. I don't, listen, let me tell y'all something. First off, you guys are being unfair about the whole situation and unrealistic. Let's be real. Roy Jones. Nobody really believes Roy Jones has even that much of a chance to beat Mike Tyson. Okay? Roy Jones losing to Mike Tyson in his exhibition, people are going to feel like, hey, he was supposed to win. So he can't beat Roy, and then you guys go, oh, he even beat Roy Jones. As if, no, because none of y'all are giving Roy a chance. So what does that really mean if he beats him anyway? He's supposed to beat him, right? He's the bigger man, stronger, natural heavyweight. Okay. We've seen Roy get knocked out by lesser opponents and guys that can't punch nearly as hard as Mike Tyson. Okay, so what does Roy have going into this fight that you guys look at and feel like will give him a chance to survive whatever Mike Tyson does and that he can beat Mike? Nobody sees this going 12 on the full 8 rounds. So basically, for Mike to win, it's like, okay, that's not satisfying enough to where we can give him more accolades to what he's already done. So yeah, the thought of if he beats Anthony Joshua, that would make him the greatest heavyweight of all time. And then you guys love Mike so much that that's what you would love to be able to tag to his name. Now, me personally, I don't believe in that greatest of all time shit. I just don't. And I have my reasons, which I'm not going into, but I've already made that no. I don't believe in any greatest of all time. But at the end of the day, he never said, I want to fight Anthony Joshua. He was answering a question, and in answering that question, again, he said several times, in the name of charity. He's not trying to go in there and fight against Anthony Joshua and then fight for a title. Do you guys realize, you guys that's talking shit about Andy Ruiz and all of that, he's slow, he's this, he's that, oh, he's not a good fighter. Do you guys forget Evander Holyfield beat Mike Tyson twice soundly? Okay? Mike snapped and bit his ear and blamed it on headbutts that never even fucking happened if you watch the fight. But do you guys realize that a 19-year-old Andy Ruiz sparred a 40-year-old Evander Holyfield? And Holyfield said, man, this guy gave me all kinds of trouble. Like, Andy Ruiz, he's so fast. Like, and even asked about his hand speed. They said, nah, he's faster than anybody I've ever fought. This is after he fought Mike Tyson. Okay? Of course. But he basically, his analysis of Andy Ruiz, he gave him all the props in the world. So you guys can sit up. You don't have to like Andy Ruiz as a fighter. I don't give a shit about him as a fighter. I mean, I think he's talented. I think he lacks the discipline to train and keep his body in the type of shape that he needs to be in. But even still, you guys think Mike is going to go in there because he hit some mitts and look good for fucking 2-minute clips? I mean, you know what happens when you start fighting and you keep fighting and fatigue starts to set in and you getting punched in your ribs and punched in your fucking head and all that, and you 54 years old and you haven't been in the ring in how long? And he's not sparring. You guys keep talking about the spar. What sparring? You guys read a clip and say, this will be like me standing here labeling this video, Mike Tyson calls out Anthony Joshua. And then when the video comes on, I'm still here talking about milk and ice cream. Like, what the fuck? Wait, Aries, what are you talking about milk and ice cream for? I thought this was a boxing video. Quote what the person say. And if you're going to put a title on the video, at least explain in the video why you said what you said. Because now, Showbiz the Adult, I like his channel. And Showbiz is saying, he was talking about, some guys that's close to Mike Tyson that he talked to. And how he sat right there and watching Mike Tyson train, and that the guy says to Showbiz that Mike Tyson is planning on fighting again afterwards. Yeah, he has a fucking league, man. This whole thing, this whole Legends, whatever, Legends Only, a Legend League, this is his thing. He's trying to keep going. I done told y'all this like 4 or 5 times. Mike Tyson did not, listen, even if he changes his mind and decides, you know what, maybe I do have one more run left in me. Okay, whatever. That is not what he's saying. He did not say that this time. And he clearly brought up charity. Exhibitions. That's what charities are. You don't fight a fucking 12-round fight for a world championship for an exhibition. It's for the championship. Okay, and first off, for namesake, no, Mike Tyson does not deserve no fight. I don't give a fuck what you did in the past, how great you were. Nobody deserves to come in and leapfrog over all these guys that's busting their asses now. Now, if y'all don't see that as disrespect on y'all behalf, then you tell me what is. Every generation seems to think that their generation, this generation is better than that generation. We can all sit and look and take fighters from different generations and say, okay, I think this generation has more better fighters than this generation, or this generation that. Whatever. But I'm talking about the fact of people are looking at the fighters that they were in the same class with, and then we would have beat those guys. Okay? AFC versus NFC. That's all it is. Okay? They're biased to their generation. But if you're realistic and you look, first off, it's all opinions, and we can't even prove that. But all of this shit about Anthony Joshua being slow, Anthony Joshua's this and this and that, and he can't do this and this, all that is for the people that want to see Anthony Joshua lose. I don't feel like Deontay Wilder has the best skill set in the world. No. But I doubt very seriously Mike Tyson would beat Deontay Wilder. You guys are not like you really you got people. A couple of people told me, man, I was watching Chris Bird versus blah blah blah. Y'all don't know, man. Chris Bird was nice. I said, okay, take the word was and put it in parentheses, and then say your own sentence over in your own head again. He was nice. And you know if Mike Tyson goes in there and gets beat, knocked out, destroyed, oh man, if he was younger, he would have did X, Y, Z. Anthony Joshua already stated he would never fight Mike Tyson because he knows people would hate him just for the fact he won. And then that's the first excuse you're going to hear is if Mike was in his prime, he would have. Who gives a fuck about that? It's so irrelevant, man. It's so irrelevant. Me personally, you know what I do? I watch a fighter, basketball player, football player, whatever you are. I watch what you do. When your time comes and goes, it goes. You know how I feel, hey man, thanks for the good times. We're going to have a lot of, good memories, great memories watching the reruns of this fighter or this basketball player, this football player. If basically every generation is better than the next that comes, the next that comes, why the fuck are we so vested into this shit then? What's the purpose of watching something that's lackluster? That's another reason why boxing is not where it could be, because it's not just the shady promotions and different sanctioning bodies wanting to protect their champions and don't want them to unify and all that. It's not just that. It's like a lot of you fucking fans, you sit and watch shit and all you do is dwell on the fucking past. What somebody was, what they was this, they was that. None of you could sit here and tell me that all these videos I made, you could not even say who my favorite fighters are. I don't really have, I do and I don't. I have favorite fighters in the sense that, yeah, I liked him as a fighter. He was this, but I don't worship and praise these motherfuckers. By no way. I appreciate, I respect what they did. I like a lot of fighters who was never world champion. I like fighters who none of y'all probably never even fucking heard of before. And you say, why would you like him? Because he was a great fucking fighter that didn't get his just due, didn't get his recognition. There's a lot of different fighters, a lot of basketball players, football players, whatever. When your time goes, you go. When Michael Jordan retired, it was like, yo, Mike did his thing. All right. I'm watching basketball. I'm not even looking to see who's going to be the next guy to step up and be that guy. I'm just watching basketball. They come, they go. When that person emerges and it's like his stats comes up and this guy's doing amazing things, what draws you to the game? I'm different in that sense. A lot of people are robotic and you have this, oh, but this guy. My attitude is more like, look, like I said, when you do your thing, you do your thing. Your time comes, your time goes. You guys watch, the big three, Ice Cube's basketball league, and you can watch them play ball. You don't need for the commentators to sit and shit on them and say, oh, they couldn't make it in the NBA. No, they don't need to reference the NBA. This is the big three. But you have common sense to know that Allen Iverson couldn't go back right now in the NBA and do what he used to, right? Y'all got common sense to know that, right? This is why they're doing the big three, which I think is a beautiful platform because they don't have to just sit up and just get old and die. They can, hey, I can still be active. I can still go out here and do something that I love to do. But you guys have common sense to know that they're up in age now, right? They can't go back out there and do the same shit. You know Michael Jordan couldn't come back out there and do the same thing he used to do, right? So when it comes to Mike, y'all act like he's like he's not even human. Like, oh, Mike, if anybody can do it, it's Mike. I ask people things, and the thing is, I'm realistic as can be. I don't talk off my emotion. I talk off the things that I see, that I understand. And if I see something different from someone else, I don't tell the person that they're wrong for having an opinion of who they like. But I will challenge your logic. Like example, when I asked a person, they said Bruce Lee was the best fighter of all time. So, okay, what was Bruce Lee's record? What you mean? The fuck you mean what I mean? If I ask you what was Muhammad Ali's record, right? You could go dig it up and find it if you don't know exactly how many fights he won, lost, draws, and all that, but you can go dig it up, right? Okay, so you said Bruce Lee was the greatest fighter of all time. What was Bruce Lee's record? I mean, no, I'm saying though, like, you saying what? You said he's the greatest fighter of all times. Okay, now let me break this down. Growing up as a kid, we all love Bruce Lee. Everybody was always imitating the way he stand, the way he fight, the sounds he made and all of that, his facial expressions and all that shit, right? And as you grow up, you start to realize there's a difference between movie fighting and real fighting. Bruce Lee himself, pulled right up on YouTube, said it's different. Bruce Lee himself, okay, himself have said things that people will say, Bruce never said that. I don't even care to get into that because, like I said, what do I gain from this shit? Is this hate on Bruce Lee because I'm asking the fucking question? You understand what I'm saying? If I say Floyd Mayweather was 50-0, you can pull that shit up. Rocky Marciano was 49-0, you can pull that shit up. What was Bruce Lee's record? You're saying a guy that we've grown to know and get familiar with through movies and legend and hearsay, 132 pounds, was the greatest fighter of all times, could beat anybody, hands down. Nobody could touch Bruce. Y'all really believe in some Dragon Ball Z shit. Now you'll sit here and fucking say, when it comes to Bruce, size don't mean nothing. Size ain't everything. But you the same motherfuckers that say Roy is too small for Mike Tyson. He's not a real heavyweight. And I'm wrong for challenging your logic. Even when I defend logic, this is what I tell you. It's not the fighter I'm defending. It's the logic. Bruce Lee, here's a fact, was not a professional fighter. He had no record. So even the fights that we heard about that he had, you guys get so fucking persuaded by people that Bruce could kill you. I mean, there's guys that could hurt you, but Bruce could kill you. And you guys, oh man, you see that guy's face? You could hear the fear in his... Bruce Lee's the only person that could kill someone? Do you know there's people in this world who we've never seen on a television screen playing basketball or boxing or whatever that could actually fucking beat motherfuckers that we see on TV or can compete with them? Do you realize that shit? That there's people that's talented enough that just never got their shot? Do you realize that there's people out here that will tell you a story? When you're telling a story, okay, let's just be real. Think about this, right? We can listen to a Chuck Norris story, Jim Kelly, Ron Van Cleef, Sho Kosugi. We can listen to anybody's story, and no matter how great they hype it up, it's like politically correct to say Bruce was just better than everybody. I don't give a fuck if he was a boxer, a ninja, a fucking sumo wrestler. Bruce was just... How do you know this? Isn't that why fighters compete? Don't we want to see Deontay Wilder versus Anthony Joshua so we can know who the better fighter is? Who the best is? Put it like that. Don't we want to see Tyson Fury fight Anthony Joshua, or we want to see Terrence Crawford versus Spencer? Who is the best? You have, which this is your skill set versus mine. Let's see who's more effective. Let's see who can beat who. That's the purpose, right? Because we can sit here all day and say, oh, this guy will beat this guy. And like I tell everybody, hopefully we get to see. I have my picks for my reasons. My reasons and my picks are opinions, and they're not facts. See, I'm unlike you perfect people out there that think that y'all know your goddamn thing. So when I tell you, hey, hopefully we see. I cannot tell you what that fighter is going to show up and do fight night. I don't give a fuck what he did last fight. Consistency is what I go by. But like I'm saying, when you add it all up and look at what they do and who's consistent, okay, that's a factor. But for me to tell you what's going to happen fight night, I can't. I can tell you who I think is going to win. And even if I'm right, I'm not going to say, I told you. That's what y'all like to do. Okay, you said one thing, but how about all the millions of fucking times you was wrong with your predictions? You know? Oh, then you blame the fight. Oh, the motherfucker wasn't jabbing like he was supposed to. He was. No, you said he was going to win. So my thing is, I go by what I see from each fighter, and that's what I go by. But just like what I'm saying, to get back on the Bruce Lee situation, Bruce Lee was not a professional fighter. He was an actor. Now, I'm not saying he didn't know how to fight. Of course he knew how to fight. But how can you measure? There's one video of Bruce Lee where he's all covered up in black. It's supposed to be him. There's two guys. Their face, everything is covered in black. The whole thing is a point system. Okay? If you read the comments, Bruce could have took that guy's head off if he wanted to. Oh, if Bruce would do that punch, he'd have broke that guy's jaw. Oh, Bruce could have did... And it's like... Why do you motherfuckers act like this is a movie? Like this is like the man has superpowers. You don't know what the effect would have been if that punch would have landed. You don't know that. Then two, what is the caliber of these people he's fighting against, that he's sparring against? He's teaching these guys. So when he's training, he's teaching guys that are lesser skilled. But now, when we're talking about his actual fights that he's had that we've never seen with other people, I saw it, and I can tell you, it was the deadliest thing I ever saw. So basically, nothing goes forward in life. So everything stopped. Skills and everything stopped. Bruce is as good as you can get. There's nobody that's ever as talented as Bruce Lee. Nobody could beat Bruce Lee. Nobody could beat Mike Tyson. Nobody could. It's certain people, or even guys who we know that lost. So what I'm saying, even when guys say if Bruce Lee was in an MMA cage, he beat all those guys. How the fuck do you know that, man? How the fuck do you know that? I've heard people say Bruce Lee would beat Sugar Ray Leonard in a boxing match. So here's Sugar Ray Leonard, a professional fighter. Here's Bruce Lee, an actor that studies certain styles, created his own style, but has never actually competed as a professional fighter. And he's going to walk into the ring and just beat Sugar Ray Leonard. Now, when you hear me say there's people out there that can compete, you have common sense to know. I'm not talking about somebody sitting up on a couch watching fights and just decide to start training one day. No, I'm talking about there's people out there that's good enough to compete. Like, they had a guy that was in the Olympics from Cuba, Felix Savon. Felix Savon never got his chance to come and fight pro, never got a chance to come in the USA. I can't tell you how far he would have went, but watching him in the Olympics, Felix Savon was a serious threat, man. And he never got his chance. Now, watching him, I feel like he was good enough to be, if not world champion, at least compete for it. This is what I mean. So let me make that known. So, but you just said, because you know you got these little minions out there that want to try to find fault. But listen, all I'm saying to you guys is you guys have these narratives that people paint these pictures for you, and then you speak about it, and you say these things as if it's facts because someone said it, and it's what you want to hear. How can we say who Bruce Lee would have beat? That how he would have did this? Every fighter, no matter how great they were, with the exception of Floyd and Marciano, well, there's others. Everybody's not going to walk away with a clean, with an undefeated streak. And then people, but Floyd really lost to this guy. Look, I don't give a fuck about your opinion telling me what he lost and whatever. You guys get the picture of what I'm saying overall. I don't care about all of that bullshit. You guys, what I'm talking about is when you hear news, you got to learn how to sort through the bullshit, man. Y'all sit and listen to people, and then y'all run with the story and think. Like when I see a video that says Mike Tyson sparring for Roy Jones Jr., and all I see is Mike hitting mitts, I'm like, where's the sparring at? Yeah, where's the sparring? That's not sparring, that's hitting mitts. I have not seen one video of Mike Tyson sparring. So where's the sparring at? Am I wrong for pointing that out? Not that I care, because I know I'm not wrong. You said sparring. There was no sparring there. Now, if we break down the very beginning, Mike Tyson hits the bag, looks at the camera, I'm back. About a month later, Evander Holyfield hitting the bag, looks at the camera, I'm back. Look at how many videos said Mike Tyson versus Evander Holyfield 3. And what made me say, call bullshit on that is because when I watch Evander Holyfield videos and I watched him, listen to him talk in his interviews, he never once said anything about fighting Mike Tyson. And when that question came up, he said, well, I mean, we're doing it for charity. Well, if it's not about a Mike Tyson thing. It's nobody in particular that I'm coming back for. I just want to, give back. Doesn't that give you a clear indication there was no negotiations about him and Mike Tyson fighting each other? Then James Toney started talking and all that, and okay. But how many people continue to tell you Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield was about to fight? Now, I can understand why people would think that looking at the two videos. But they both were coming back for the same reasons, but not so much to fight each other. How many times have we seen videos of Floyd Mayweather in the gym training? And for some reason, he's coming back for Pacquiao. Floyd Mayweather versus Pacquiao 2. Where is this shit even coming from? But you guys believe it because you hear it and you want to believe it. It's not the case, man. So no, Mike Tyson never said he wanted to fight Anthony Joshua. He never ever said that shit. So when people put these whoa and yo, breaking news, must watch, they put that up there, but then you got to understand that's to get your attention. Now, like I said, they break the truth down in the video, cool, whatever. But when people are putting these things up and you guys start getting all delusional, I mean, look, let's be realistic, man. Our opinions, I always say this, our opinions are not facts. They are our opinions and we are entitled to them. But when you are saying things as if it's factual, and I ask you, what are you going by? Like, I'll give you another example. We talked about Michael Jai White versus Bruce Lee because of a question that he was asked and he said Bruce couldn't beat him. Now, you don't have to believe it. You can say, Mike's crazy, or he did. People are just saying it because it's Bruce Lee. If he said he'd fuck up Jim Kelly, nobody would care. Let's just be realistic. If Michael Jai White said, I'd knock Jim Kelly the fuck out, nobody would care. You go, yeah, he probably would have beat Jim Kelly. But because it's Bruce. And let's be real, to say, if Bruce Lee, if they were the same size, see, again, fantasy shit. Nobody said if Bruce Lee was 200 pounds, 200 whatever, he couldn't beat. He said Bruce Lee couldn't beat, he said, me. When he said he regrets saying it, he's not saying he's sorry because he don't think he can really beat Bruce. He's saying because he should have known the reaction he was going to get. Michael Jai White is 235 pounds, right? Bruce Lee was 132 pounds. And you guys that saying he was too fast, he did this, he did that, based on what? We at least seen Michael Jai White spar. We've had videos where we've seen him actually, sparring in karate style at least. We've never seen Bruce Lee have, and people, oh, this video, show me. I've been researching this shit for years, homie. Show me one video of Bruce Lee going full contact with anybody. Show me fucking one. You can't. It doesn't exist. The only video you have of Bruce Lee with, and it's not even full contact. It's a point system. When they throw the shot and they touch it to chest, point. Throw it to point. That's all it is. You know the difference between somebody rocking your shit and you rocking that shit back? We've never seen that happen with Bruce Lee. Karate style tournaments are different. But what I'm saying is we've at least seen Michael Jai White do that. We've not seen Bruce Lee do that shit. But even in a sense, you're going to say, again, size don't mean nothing. Ain't y'all the same motherfucker that said tension was too small for Floyd Mayweather? Ain't y'all the same people that said, oh man, Juan Manuel Marquez was too small for Floyd? Ain't y'all the same people, again, saying Roy is really too small for Mike Tyson? So size doesn't matter, but no, being big doesn't matter just because you're big. The skill set that comes with it, that makes the difference. And if y'all think Michael Jai White is some pushover, you guys are fucking delusional. And if you're going by movie fighting, then I can't take movie fighting and say this guy will beat this guy based off movie fighting. All I can say is this motherfucker had a better choreographer than that guy. Shit like that. The flexibility and all this and this and that. Even like when Bruce Lee was doing those flips, that wasn't even Bruce Lee. That wasn't even Bruce Lee that was flipping. Jackie Chan. Look it up. God damn, you see all the Bruce. So you're giving, it's like a record producer puts his name on something, and you like, yo, that motherfucker. Woo! Remember that record Truth and Rakim made, and everybody, yo, Dre. Yeah, don't get it wrong. Dre is a bad motherfucker on them. Yo, he's a one of the, Dre got his shit together with that music. Come to find out, that wasn't even Dre. That was DJ Quick. Yeah. Giving people props for something that they didn't do. Nobody's bashing Bruce. Bruce, hey, look, man, out of all these martial artists and martial arts movies and all that, Bruce, I got all Bruce Lee movies. I got all Jim Kelly movies. Okay? Jim Kelly was nowhere as a big a star as Bruce was. And I'm not even talking about comparing them as fighters and all that. What I'm saying is when you guys look up these guys from back in the day who did what, you had a lot of amazing fighters that just didn't get that kind of recognition. Bruce was able to get that. More props to him. Nobody's trying to break Bruce down and strip away his greatness or whatever. But no, as a professional fighter, fuck no. Miss me with that. Until you can give me a record, you can't, okay, then you're not a professional fighter. You're not a fucking professional fighter. Okay? I don't care how many styles you study. I don't care how much light sparring you do. And even look, even when guys are sparring, Understand, Bruce is a fucking actor. Bruce cannot be in there getting his body banged up and getting some. You understand what I'm saying? Stop with that bullshit, man. This is y'all using y'all imagination. And when we challenge your logic, you start, oh, y'all hating on Bruce, which is, we're grown over here. Ain't no, all this childish kitty shit. Nobody has a reason to hate on nobody. But at the end of the day, y'all got to stop being sucked into titles. And then acting like and then start letting your imagination go. Back to what I originally was talking about. I like what Mike Tyson is doing. Mike Tyson, hopefully that this league lasts, and hopefully he can keep it going. And it's for a beautiful cause on top of that. So hopefully everything goes the way it's supposed to go. I hope him and Roy put on a hell of an event. And basically, for y'all that just want to see how fast he's going to destroy Roy, like I said, you're not supporting the event. You're not supporting Roy Jones as a legend. You're just supporting Mike Tyson because you guys, he's your favorite. And even for the people that like Roy Jones, who say, I'm a Roy Jones fan, but I don't think he can win. Okay, whatever. But again, if you're going to shoot down this shit and you basically just want to see how fast he's going to beat Roy Jones, okay, well, again, the next time Mike steps in there, Mike should be fighting a full-fledged heavyweight. Okay? Not a middleweight that went up for one heavyweight fight, then went back down to light heavy, then went up and finished as a cruiserweight. An actual heavyweight. But it's exhibitions anyway. So it's not like this goes on their record. But at the end of the day, I'm here to support the event. I love boxing, not so much the boxers. I respect what they do. And let me say this. Even if it's a fighter who I don't think is that good or I see the potential, but it's like Oscar Rivas is a guy, I think he has potential, but the flaws that he has, his weaknesses, if he can't fix those things, he'll stay at the same level and then start to decline. Okay? Any fighter. But when we talking about the top tier fighters right now, ask yourself this question. You think McBride or Danny Williams could hang with these guys right now? So how do you think that Mike could? So when y'all talk about that, he's more focused now and he's more disciplined, all this shit based on him hitting mitts. I don't understand how y'all just let your mind go with shit, man. At the end of the day, I'm not interested to see Mike Tyson try to go in there and get slaughtered against AJ or Wilder or Fury or Joseph Parker. I'm just not interested in seeing that shit. Me personally. So if y'all really care for Mike like y'all say y'all did, y'all wouldn't even be encouraging that shit. And by the way, he said, she said, right? Didn't 2 weeks ago now, didn't Shelly Finkel say Deontay Wilder was coming out with a big, huge announcement in 2 weeks? It's been 2 weeks, y'all. Okay? It's been 2 weeks. So y'all got to start listening and paying attention to what's being said. Instead of getting y'all panties all up your ass crack and getting pissed because somebody is bringing out the logic and shit, but you don't want to hear logic when it makes whoever look bad. That's not what it's about. It's about what's the truth. Listen, man, don't fall in love with lies. And remember, the truth brings hate out of people. Catch y'all on the next one.